Hello everyone, welcome to the weekly scenario in Noctie. And this week we are dealing with this position, and this is a real classic. Because white is Garry Kasparov, the former world champion, and is playing against Portis, one of the best players at the time from Hungary. And first of all, if we take a look at the position, you can see that black is a pawn up. So I think that the first move to play for white is very obvious, and that is to take on h7 and then go for rook take d5 to win back the pawn. But I would like to have a more general discussion about the situation. When I see a position, I always ask myself, on what side of the board should I play, the king side or the queen side? And in this position, this can actually give you an idea on how to continue. Because if we look at the position, it is not only the bishop that is ready to go to h7, but also this bishop has got a nice long diagonal towards the black king. And beside that, we also have this knight on a5 that is far away from the defense, and also this bishop do not have any clear square where to go to defend the black king. So if white can be fast, we can maybe deliver a checkmate soon, and let's see what happened. Okay, bishop take h7, king take h7, rook take d5. These are the obvious moves. But now suddenly you see how dangerous this position is for black. For example, after if black plays like queen c2 like this, white could continue with queen e5, and look at this battery of the bishop on b2, the queen on a5, threatening checkmate on g7. And if the queen goes back to g6, white will simply take the bishop on e7. So the only possibility is bishop f6, but now queen h5, king g8, take, and you can see how open the black king is, so it will not take long when it's checkmated. So okay, so instead in this position, the only move more or less is king g8. And after this, white has got a very nice way to take away the shelter of the black king before black is ready for the defense, and that is simply to take on g7 like this. And after king take, white brings in the knight to e5. The idea is to bring the queen to g4, as shown here, but also it's activating rook to d7, and of course bringing in the knight into the action. What happened was rook fd8 to try to give black's king a square on f8 to go away. After queen g4 check, what happened was king f8, and now a nice little move, queen f5. And as you can see, there is a mating threat on f7 because we have the knight and the queen that is supported by the knight on e5, so it's threatening to take on f7. And now it's really dangerous for black. Only move more or less is f6 like this, and this is happened in the game. Knight d7 check, and now interestingly, black could try to escape with king f7, but then we have a very nice little variation, and that is to go for queen h7 check. And the only way now is to go up with the king to e6, because otherwise queen to g8 will be a disaster. King e6, rook e1, check like this, but wait a minute, cannot the king take the rook? Yes, but then queen e4, king d6, and queen e6 checkmate. That would have been lovely to see on the board. Instead, of course, what black did was to take on d7, and then rook take d7, queen c5, try to swap off queens. Of course, white wants to avoid that. Queen h7, and now, because this is also a rule that you should know, that if you are in an attack, if you are the active part, very rarely you want to swap off pieces. Then you really need to have another advantage coming instead of that advantage. So, okay, rook c7, try to swap off pieces. Queen h8, king f7, and again, if you are in the attack, you do not want to swap off pieces. Rook d3 makes the rook ready, for example, to g3 and then a checkmate here. So we want to keep our pieces. Okay, knight c4 came, try to bring in the knight into the defense. And now white slowly move in the next piece. And there is a say, invite all your friends to the party. And this is what white is doing. Okay, black now tries to defend with knight to e5. And this was happened. And now after knight e5, then queen h7, king e6, and now queen g8, dragging the king out on the board where it most likely will be mated, and so also in this case, king f5, g4 check. And now if the knight takes on g4, we always have rook d5 if we want that. So king f4 came, and now rook d4, king f3, queen b3, and that's a nice move because now after king e2 there is a checkmate on e3, and if black tries to put something in between with queen c3, queen d5, king e2 only move, queen e4, queen e3, and queen takes on e3 checkmate. And you can see a lovely attack by Kasparov, not the least, it was very instructive. So let's see what happens if I play this against Noctie. Okay, so here we are. I'm playing with white, and you remember, I take on h7, king take, I take on d5, winning back the pawn, and now king goes back, Noctie understands the danger of the other possibilities, I take on g7, like this, king take, and knight e5, and we are still following the game, but I'm pretty sure that Noctie will play something else. Like this move, for example. Now the queen is ready to go back, but okay, I can play queen g4, and as you can see, now the queen cannot go to g6 because the knight is protecting. And now, maybe this is a strong move because I take away the queen from the diagonal down to h7. I was threatening to play rook to h3 check with checkmate, or queen goes in between. I will win material. Also now I have a nice little trick, and that is to give a check here on h3. And now I will pick up the rook, because when the queen came to h3, suddenly I am defending the rook. Okay, he took with the queen, and now I actually have an advantage of 7 points, so I'm completely winning position. But now also I can play this nice little move. It's a check on the king, and now I take the bishop, and I am 10 points ahead, and I think a solemn queen, so I think it's time to stop. So when you attack, do not forget, bring in all your pieces, invite all your friends to the party, and beside that, the good question is, on which side should I play? Bye!